trying to do a 24-hour sewing challenge. We're gonna start it now. I'm gonna count this as like the time that I'm starting it. I'm telling you guys right now, this girl is lying to you because this was not no 24-hour challenge. This was a 4-day challenge, okay? But anyway, I'm in the fabric store. Well, she was in the fabric store because she's the one that lied to you, not me. She was in the fabric store to get some tool that adds structure to the corset that she was making, and then some boning and fusible interfacing. This is my local fabric store. It is so like packed in here. Like there's so much fabric. This is like their warehouse. It's what you're seeing right now. There's even more in the back. Like they have a warehouse attached to the warehouse. Like it's actually crazy. Okay, so I'm back from the fabric store. I got my supplies. This is some thick spill I got. It's so thick. So I'm so excited to use this. And then I got some the one that you can sew on, which is called wriggling. And then I got the regular encased boning. I have 2 jars of each of these. Should be enough. And then I got some fusible. I needed medium weight, but they only had lightweight. So I think what I'm gonna do is, if I need it to be stiffer, this is just gonna be for the outer layer fabric. If I need it to be stiffer, I'm just gonna double it. I have some fusible left over from whenever I bought it. So yeah, everything came to about like $13.37. I don't know if I'm gonna use this. I was thinking of, this is my outside fabric. I was thinking of laying this on top of it, but I don't know if I like how that looks, because this is like although it has some form of iridescence of pink, it's just completely different from this, and I feel like it's gonna throw it off. So this champagne color got to go. I'll save for another project. And I have this for the skirt. All of these were leftovers from whatever the heck project I was working on a long time ago. Then I have some ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby that I was gonna use for Christmas decor. I never used it, so we're gonna use it for this project. Hold on, disclaimer. This is not a tutorial, okay? Y'all are just watching me scramble and be stressed out. That's really what this is. But I'm using a pattern that I use to make the quilted corset. And I'm just cutting that out of my outside fabric, which is this pink fabric, and that twill fabric, which is going to be my structure fabric, and also my lining. I also had to cut out, each piece was cut out twice of my fusible because I wanted medium to add structure to the outside fabric, but they didn't have medium, they only had lightweight, so I just had to cut out each panel twice and iron it twice. Okay. So after everything was cut out and ironed on, it was time to sew the panels together, and everything was sewn together at 1/2 inch. And you guys, I love this fabric so much. It was thick, it was stiff, it was just, everything that I like, So I was just so excited to work with this, because I'm like, this is going to give some structure. This is going to make it like, it's going to suck me in. Like, it's no giving this. Like, it's not going to stretch at all. So excited to work with this. And then there was Meg. Nothing was wrong with this fabric, you guys. It's fine. It's just I love working on structured garments and technical stuff. So when fabric is a bit more thick and more structured, I kind of lean towards that as opposed to the thinner fabric. All the pieces are done, sewn together. It's just time to yarn. It's time to yarn, you guys. How I love this piece of bodice. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. How I love you. How I just want to spend my entire life with this. It's time to iron. It's time to iron. Miss Girl's over here heating up things. She getting a little toasty. She getting a little.
Real bitch. No, you're not gonna call me no bitch. I'm not none of these. I'm gonna whip your ass. I'm not none of them. So you.
It's time to iron. Just cut the cameras. Y'all ever just take your little fingers and just, a little saliva on it and tap on the iron to check if it's sizzling hot? That's just me. Just pressing these open, because I have no idea how I'm gonna sew this boning in, you guys. I have some sew on, like you can actually sew on top of the boning. Never used that before. But yay me for trying to do something new on a 24-hour challenge. But hey. I'm also ironing, flipping and ironing, because they are angled differently. So I'm gonna iron on the top one way and then flip it over and iron on top the other way. I saw this technique on Adventures of Sarah and M. She basically just put her 2 panels together and pinned in between the seams to line up the seams of the outer layer and the inner layer. And we're doing this, we didn't stitch anything yet. We're just pinning each seam so that it matches up. You're gonna see me going back and forth, flipping it back and forth to make sure those seams, each seam is lined up and pinned together, because we're gonna be stitching in those seams to hold them in place so that we can stitch on each side of the seam to create the boning channels. So this was literally like stitching in the ditch. I just put my presser foot down on top of the fabric and then put my needle in the seam and just stitch as slowly as I was comfortable with going. I removed each pin as I got to it. Don't have to rush this. I didn't rush this. I made sure I was quite meticulous with this area. You might get little like stitches on the inside fabric that might be a little over on the seam, but it's okay as long as you're not too far off. That took forever. So now we're gonna do the boning channels. I was measuring how wide my boning channel should be, but I ended up just using the edge of my presser foot, which was 1/4 of an inch. So all of my boning channels were 1/4 of an inch wide on each side of the seam. And here's another wonderful, beautiful angle of me in my bonnet stitching these boning channels. And please make sure that if you're doing this again, it's not a tutorial, but you know, I gotta teach y'all something. What are we talking about? Boning channels, right? Make sure that you flatten out the fabric and it's not like not rolling up or bunching up.
Brother,
I'm not even straight. I am so tired, you guys. I didn't go to sleep. I tried to go to sleep, but I didn't even go to sleep till 3 o'clock. Because I was having 3 rounds of sleep paralysis.
the power of Christ compels you!
Realistically, I'm not gonna get done within the 24-hour mark, but I have been working on this dress for less than 24 hours. I'm not gonna make it count though. Realistically, it's all I need to do is put the boning in.
I'm finding it. It take you that long to
It
find
does. It does.
Line the edges, add grommets. That's it. That's it. And then the skirt. That's it. So it's the next morning. I actually like somebody and I got out my seam ripper. I'm just going to take out the stitching that we did in the ditch of the center front seam, the seam over the bust, and the seam next to it. We're not taking out the seam, we're just taking out the stitch that we did to conjoin those seams together. I'm taking out these stitches because I have this 1/2 inch sew-on boning that I'm going to be using in these boning channels. And if I don't take that stitch out, it's basically going to act like a barrier and it will not, the boning will not be able to go inside. So I already cut and put in the sew-on boning into the respective channels. So what you see right now is I'm using the boning that comes in the casing to go into the rest of the boning channels. And I'm just making sure for all of the boning, I rounded out the edges before I put them inside because it will perforate your fabric if you have those harsh edges. Well, it's been about a few days since I filmed that last audio clip because I got really sick and I am still currently sick. So I apologize if I sound absolutely terrible and disgusting, but I must get this video out. The show must go on. Those stitches that I seamed to rip out of the seam so that the 1/2 inch sewn boning could fit inside the channel, I'm basically just sewing on top of the seam again to secure that boning in place. I created a boning channel for the center back by stitching on the edge and then stitching 1/4 inch away. Cutting out several strips on bias, about 1.5 inches thick. I'm going to attach all of these strips together to make one long strip to finish off the edges of the corset. After all those, I sound more lively today. Okay, yeah, so after all those strips were attached together to make one long bias binding strip, it was time to attach it to the perimeters of the corset. When the bias binding was attached, I just folded it over twice so that I could blind stitch it on the inside. And can we just take a little moment to appreciate my construction, because this looks nice. This looks really, really nice. Alright, so I didn't include the shot of me blind stitching because it's quite boring really. I didn't think you'd be interested in seeing it here. So I did, however, figure out why I was having problems with this eyelet thing, with putting in the eyelets with my other projects. Eyelets falling out everywhere. It's because I was cutting out holes. Like I was using, like, I don't know what I was doing, but I was cutting out holes to put the eyelets in when you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to spread the threads farther enough so that the eyelets can go in there, unless you're using like really wide eyelets, but I'm not. I'm using these small ones, and if I can just spread the threads wide enough for the eyelets to be shoved in there, then the threads will kind of like squeeze themselves back together and hold the eyelets in place. So that's what I'm using this all for. I'm using the rest of this bias binding to make a waistband for this long gathered full-length skirt. I believe the panel was about 3 to 4 times my waist size plus 1 inch for the zipper. Also, at this point I had already put in my zipper, but I wasn't going to include that because again, this was supposed to be a 24-hour challenge and I was kind of rushing to get this done. This was like day 3. But after that waistband was attached, I just folded it over twice onto the inside of the skirt and blind stitched that as well. So I was going to add these snaps to the back of my skirt waistband, but I realized when I was trying to put it on this magnet so I could carry it to my room so I could attach it to the waistband because I didn't want to sit on my desk anymore, it was not magnetic. It was not attracted to the magnet at all, but my pin was, however. So I looked at the packaging and it said nickel plated brass, right? So I'm like, what the heck does that even mean, right? So apparently brass is an alloy, right? Which means that it contains 2 or more metallic components, right? So it has 2 or more metals. The metals that make up brass are copper and zinc, which are non-magnetic metals, right? Cool, but get this. Nickel is magnetic, so why is it not sticking? So nickel plated is basically like just a very thin layer of nickel over something basically, and they do this so that it prevents against rust and stuff like that and corrosion over time. But the nickel plating is so thin that it's not attracted to the magnet. So you're welcome for that chemistry lesson. Anyway, I'm just shortening the length of my skirt because it is way too long, so I just went in with my ruler and marked across the whole entire hem the same length and chopped off that measurement. I did leave about 1/2 inch of seam allowance because I did use my rolled hem, which made life so much easier. Like once you put that thing in there, it hems itself. There's no extra folding. It folds itself and hems itself and sews itself. It's so easy. But I am going to tell you, make sure that your bobbin thread is completely full because you will be pissed off like I was to find out that your bobbin thread was empty when you started doing your hem. Of course you would be finished and done when I need to make a continuous stitch at the end of my project, but that doesn't matter because everything is done. I went to go see the Nutcracker with this outfit on, you guys. It was so beautiful. This is the day before I got sick, so it was the calm before the storm, but here is the reveal that you've been waiting for. And that long strip that I hacked off the bottom of my skirt, I just ended up sewing it right sides together, enclosing all of the edges, and I tied it up into like a bow and put my arms through it to give this like off the shoulder moment. It was super cute. You could wear it as a scarf, you could wear it as a headband or like a waist tie, whatever. It's so universal. I got a lot of like secret compliments. Like no one came up and told me I look nice. I could just hear people in the back saying like, oh my gosh, this looks so pretty, your dress is so pretty, we should have dressed up like this. But no one really came up to me and said anything, but I definitely heard people say that the dress was nice. So a win is a win. Thank you for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Consider subscribing and sharing to others that may enjoy also. Happy holidays everyone, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Bye you guys, until next time.